Let's have a quick look at something interesting again, and that's checking for errors. Let's see something here. If I have, say, this is 45 and this is 0, then I want to probably calculate, maybe I'm trying to calculate something, results, and I'm saying this divided by 0, I'll have this error. This is a div 0 error. So it's more like an error that comes from dividing something by 0, which is not mathematically correct. Now, there are different errors. You could have something like a formula that yielded an error. Let's say I'm using my AND function and I'm saying something like and 45 is greater than yes, without putting it in quotes. And then I do this, I'll have a name error. So that means there's something happening to how I labeled my function. There are a couple of errors. There's a non-applicable or not available error, which is pound sign n/a. So Excel spills out these errors based on this kind of things. But just like when we had our AND function and we got true, false, and we said that it's not very okay, especially communicating with non-tech persons or business persons like your clients or stakeholders. Now, this is even worse because this is showing this can't even be fully explained. It makes the sheet messy, right? So how do we handle this? It depends on the use case, and we'll be using this if error in multiple places as we calculate things in the future lessons. Look at this now. It's best if I would probably say something like, okay, if this is an error, so there is a function called if error. That's it here. If error. So if this is an error, what should it write instead? Remember what we talked about, the if function. It helps give you the human uh, explanation or description of something instead of just the technical jargons. All right. So this is now if collaborating with error to give you something valuable. So if this is an error, what should be written? So maybe I would write something like this is an error, and I enter this. Can you see how this makes it cleaner? You could just put any word or statement of your choice and you have this. If I change this now to say 4, it's definitely not an error, so you have a value. So that only happens when there is an error. It gives you that 10. But if there is no error, it gives you the value that should be there. All right. So instead of using it here, we can do it directly in the formula. So instead, I would add an if error to this calculation. I will wrap the whole calculation in an if error function. So I would say, just do this calculation. Don't worry about me. But if there is an error, then say this is an error. And that's that. So you see, if I change this to say 2, it gives me the value. But if what I did will produce an error, it gives me this. If I put maybe an alphabet, I'll have an error, right? Let's see the kind of error this is going to produce. So if I do 45 divided by this, which is a text, What do I have? I have a value error. It's different from the one that we had with zero. So you could see that no matter the name or the type of error, it's going to give you the alternative human description of what should be there. So that is the power of the if error function. And it's very helpful in making the view neater and cleaner. All right. So hope you enjoyed this. So you could just play around with this, try out different things and apply the if error function. All right. So we continue in the next. Thank you.